Well, hello everybody. You join me today for my review of the 2023 BMW X1. This is the third generation of BMW's smallest crossover offering. And after experiencing this vehicle for a few days now, it's very clear that the smallest package from the surface and from the driving experience does offer a lot that larger, much more expensive BMWs can provide, but it's still not quite the ultimate driving experience that BMW may wish to claim. There's a couple things I've experienced so far that aren't so favorable, but overall I think this is quite a compelling subcompact crossover, and we need to start with the interior layout of this product, because I'm 6'4" and I'm sitting here with a lot of headroom above me with the full-size panoramic sunroof that you see here. The front seats are so deeply dished that I feel like I can actually push myself a little bit closer to the dashboard and not feel claustrophobic, and I'm quite impressed with the layout that we have here with this center console that almost looks like something off of the USS Enterprise. Just laying my elbow out here with the main controls all in front, all very accessible. This works particularly well. And carrying on further there, talking about interior dimensions, again 6'4", and sitting behind myself really isn't that bad of a prospect. Good amount of headroom still. Knees might be pushing up against these hard seat backs a little bit, but look how much footroom you have. It really is quite amazing that this subcompact offers enough space to even feel like it's rivaling a BMW X3. The biggest difference is the space between the shoulders. If you have your passenger beside you, it really does feel like they're rubbing their legs up against yours. And you know, not that I think you're going to expect anything else in a subcompact, but that's the only way that this cabin feels perhaps a little bit tight. Otherwise, I think it is very spacious, intelligently designed, that with this floating center console here, a lot of space down here. Good amount in the door cards as well. The rear seats fold down independently of each other, and with that, that will be very attractive if you're looking for a subcompact to take to the ski hill every weekend. That's a huge benefit. And the rear trunk space is quite impressive, with a very hefty security cover that unfortunately can't fold or hide away underneath the false floor. The false floor actually offers a good amount of space under there as well, as you should expect with most BMWs. It doesn't have a space saver spare wheel, or a spare wheel of any kind. A few other aspects of being in a latest generation BMW is of course the software that they use for their latest iteration of iDrive, and the X1 is a little bit more unique with the application of this new technology, because you can see here that we don't have the iDrive knob, making this a full touchscreen experience. And one of the best things about BMWs is that you had the choice. For all of these years, you had a knob and you had the touchscreen, when there were plenty of moments where one was a better solution than the other. The touchscreen response from BMWs has always been excellent, and this latest version with the curved instrument cluster stitched together with the main touchscreen is all very fluid, very well integrated. It's a little bit odd looking directly in front of you here and seeing how big the rest of the bezeling is for the digital instrument cluster. So when you've got the sun blaring down on you, that's really one of the only aspects of this driving experience that feels cheapened, because we are in a less expensive product. But overall, I do think this feels like a very premium space. It's clear that you're paying a good amount of additional money to get out of the mainstream brands and into a premium brand like this. And even though the leathers might not be as rich as what you would see in an X5 or an X7, there's a lot of detail put into so many different components that each time you get in and you see everything that's in front of you, stuck in traffic like you are in now, it feels a little bit special. It feels a little more personal. And if you're going to spend the kind of money on a product such as this, you probably want a vehicle to feel more rewarding in its cabin. And the X1, I do think, is very successful at that. A couple other things I'll quickly mention about the interior that I like is that we have a cradle holder for your phone when you use the wireless phone charger. I hate using wireless phone chargers in cars. I think they're mostly useless, except for the ones that actually clasp or hold the phone in place. That's the first time I've seen it integrated in such a way in a BMW, and I think that really is going to work well. I like the layout of this new steering wheel, not an overload of buttons, and some buttons seem to have multiple functions depending on what's going on in the screen here or over here. Very much inspired by what we see in the latest iX, and it's got a little bit of empty space as well, and that's always cool in my mind. So good praise so far, right? But I did lead by saying there's a few elements of this product that I'm not quite sold on, and unfortunately it mostly pertains to the driving experience. And this isn't because this is just a BMW and a lot of us journalists want to expect better out of a BMW. But the tuning and the programming of this transverse four-cylinder engine and this throttle pedal specifically just doesn't feel quite right. You've got different driving modes here in this BMW, and I've tried all of them, but there's something weird with the top 5% of the pedal in what feels like every single mode. Of course, this car has automatic stop-start, and sometimes any of those systems will have a weird top of pedal effect when the engine is reigniting, and this has this, but it feels like whenever you get on the throttle, for whatever reason, there's a strange power hesitation to try and get off of the line. And so with that, I've never felt like I can smoothly get off of the line. I'm sure if you drive this car for long enough, you will feel that. But on your first test drive, it makes you feel like you've never driven a car before. You just have no sort of foot control. You can't control your muscles, the flexibility to just get off the line cleanly. And I'm here at a stoplight now to try and demonstrate that for you. The engine's currently off. The engine will reignite very quickly, I'm sure. And getting off of the line there, like there was quite a bit of front end lift there, and I was not trying to be dramatic. I was not trying to prove the point more for camera. It just doesn't feel like, to get off the line, this car quite knows what to do with itself. And it is a shame, because the engine and the rest of the powertrain is actually quite exciting. Again, it's a transverse mounted four-cylinder engine, turbocharged. It's the B48 engine that we've seen in a lot of other BMW products. This X1 is built on the same architecture as the current 2 Series Grand Coupe and the 1 Series in other markets. You have no idea it's shifting gears at any point. If you're even having a light conversation with the person beside you, don't have music going, you will never even hear the engine shifting from one gear to the next. It is very, very impressive. And with 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, it does often feel quite quick. But if you're going at any sort of speed, I'll get to something reasonable now, and I stomp on the throttle, that was a good amount of time, not only for the car to downshift, but even before then, respond to the power inputs. It feels like it's constantly in an eco mode, and it certainly isn't that. And again, even sport mode, still don't think it's quite enough. So that is, in my mind, a bit of a shame. When it comes to the ride, I think overall it is quite soft. Taking this on a little bit of a dirt road wasn't battering or bruising, felt very competent, felt like it was actually made for that kind of scenario. If you're going on highway driving, you'll feel a little bit of a lean here and there, not enough to really give enough head toss to upset anybody in the car. BMW here has built a subcompact crossover that I think anybody will get behind the wheel and enjoy driving. Steering has a good amount of firmness to it. When you spool up the turbo, let it go, that's a nice sound that you can hear within the cabin. It's got the pumped-in audio, as you heard just then, but it isn't so artificial that it feels wrong. It actually does sound quite natural. So there we have it. I think the BMW X1 is a nice product for people that just want a premium appliance. Yes, BMWs want to claim that they have better driving experiences than their rivals, but in this case, I'm really not too sure. It doesn't feel like a big step above in any way compared to a GLA or a Q3 or even a Lexus UX. I certainly like being in it. I think it's a very quiet car on the highway, and overall it does feel like the money you're putting into it, you're getting out of it through this cabin's design and build quality. So there we have it, X1, good car, good quality product. It just has a couple of odd things in its driving experience that I hope is something that can be improved in the years to come. So thank you very much for taking the time to watching this video. Greatly appreciate your support. If you've got any other questions, please do leave them in the comments, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.